Good morning, everybody. I wanted to say a nice hello to my friend Stephanie. You are so amazing, girl. You own CWCP, which not only has an illegal two-way mirror in the therapy treatment room, but committing perjury in more ways than one is beyond belief. I don't sleep much to this group, but well, Stephanie, I've done my professional courtesy and I dropped off my notes. I've been emailing you over 50 times a day for the last how many years now after dropping off a psychological profile that actually picks out where the abuse was in my life growing up, actually as a child, well documented by the Calgary Board of Education, as well as my diagnosis as a child, which I told you to take a look at and asked to meet with you and to review it with me, in which case you shoved me off and told me, nope, sorry, give it to the admin people, which he's a doctor of psychiatry where he comes from. He's not just brown, he's a doctor, bitch. You are using that two-way mirror in your therapy rooms at CWCP Health, the only mental health provider within the gay village, is a Christian-owned individual company, which is, in Westboro Baptist Church's choir loft, I'm pretty sure, is I'm thinking where this is, that it doubles with, right? All right. So there we go. There's the Texas screwed. Well, did you know that you can only, as a Christian counselor, perform 40%, up to 30 to 40%, depending on the plan, with insurance companies? That has to be actually prescribed out with a prescription note to be able to be covered by benefits? Oh no, did I just, oh shit. Yeah, she takes over halfway through. Actually, not even halfway through. She takes over about 5 minutes into the session and then starts victim blaming, actually. The body language changed on the therapist, and then you're piggybacking off their credentials, acting as a psychologist when you're not anything like a psychologist. See, psychologist Stephanie, let me clear this up for you, because I think within your unrighteous anger, you need to know something. You see, when psychologists go to school, and exactly why, you were not given any accreditation, actually. Oops. No, I'll just do that. Crap. The reason why no university would accredit you as psychologists, because they go through 7 years of school with psychology, the exact same amount that a doctor of psychiatry who can prescribe medications. That's the main difference between the psychologist and a psychiatrist, by the way. And it's why they have two different oaths that they have to say. The psychiatrist says the actual oath that every other doctor in the country states to perform medicine in this country. So if you're performing medicine in this continent, rather, and you have not said that oath, and you are prescribing medications, you're going to want a lawyer, and you're going to want it fast, because you're going to be facing some medical malpractice and some criminal charges. Because the first thing it says is do no harm, which you're clearly automatically already in violation of, which then bans you from practicing for the rest of your life, leads to criminal charges. It also is your license pulled and the ability to practice like anything in the field. Typically, they do not let you even back into the field. So when you didn't get accredited as Christian psychologists, it's because in the course load of a 4-year, Christian counseling pastor master's, or not even a master's, it's usually a bachelor's, right? So 4 years Within that course load, the amount of courses that were dedicated to psychology and to mental health and the actual pathologies behind the actual conditions doesn't even come close to comparing, because you also still have to do a residency on top of the 4 years. The only difference between a psychologist and a psychiatrist is 4 classes, which is the biochemistry portion and 1 semester, which I think we should actually, I would suggest this to the governing boards. I would allow psychologists to become psychiatrists easily if they were even to take a couple courses outside of the university, because we all have to keep our licenses active. We have to do continuing education courses. If you didn't know that, doctors actually pay out money, their own pocket. They do not have it covered by any board. Reason being, they want to see who decides to actually invest in themselves with their earnings. They want to see which doctors are going to invest in what courses, and they don't want them to ride their ass the way through. They don't want them riding a wave of of slipping by, not being at the top of their fields, not being at the top of their game, using AI to pass their classes. Medical students, how many of you in med school today are only where you are right now because of your phone in your pocket? And if we took that away, and if we took away your friend's ability to change and hack your grades at TMU and U of T, and this is very clearly shown in the quality of students and the quality of diagnoses coming out of the hospitals here in America right now, and in Toronto specifically, actually. In fact, if you are a professor that is watching, if you're a fellow at Toronto, because actually Toronto did actually offer me a teaching position a while ago for teaching med. FYI. I might see some of you in class next semester. I hope you're not one of the ones that failed out. You might want to do an audit of every single student medically for the last 15 years in Toronto. Well, think about it. How long has Grey's Anatomy had the one girl who was using AI with Dr. Weber? That's about how long they've been doing it. Since the cryptojacking and the ransomware attack episode. So, you know. So here's the deal, Stephanie. You're now criminally responsible. You are also committing insurance fraud. You are committing perjury. You are committing hate crime, which is actually not only against the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, but it's also breaking several amendments of the Constitution, actually. And I haven't checked it against the independence, but I'm pretty sure you're breaking some of the laws of the Declaration of Independence too. So, you know, I think you're going to be in trouble with the South too, pretty quickly, because breaking the Constitution, not to mention breaking, like, you're breaking all of them. You have no idea how fucked you are. Well, it's kind of already kind of past trial-ish, because the world knows. I post about it every day for 3 years. And you don't think justices know, especially with an uncle who's a federal justice in Canada. You don't think he and the justices from the US talk? And then my birth mom being Pam Bondi, you know, that doesn't have any, that's not going to help at all. Wait, what? Uh-huh. And I've got a twin brother who's named Andrew. Adam Andrew James, and then he's Andrew James. We were separated at birth. Well, not really. For the first 3 years, we grew up together. Well, we're the Hardy Boys. The Hardy Boys series was actually written about us back in the day. Another thing that got Pam through law school. Huh, good to know. I'm the one who had the pet squirrel. Oh, crap. See, it just happens like that. You try processing all of these mental uh, flashbacks, actually. You see, when you're a sexual trafficking victim, what they do is they take an EEG machine. That's the one where they stick all the electrodes to like epilepsy patients' heads, and they measure the brain waves and the frequencies that they're tripping at to try and diagnose where in the brain it is, and they power it up, and they reverse the power on it, and then they crank the power up until they're able to basically sear and cauterize a neural pathway so that you can't access it. So all the memory is still there. It's just you don't remember your family. You don't remember your name. You don't have your speech patterns. It's kind of like it's just like a permanent block. Well, it's extremely painful. I can tell you that. I remember screaming my eyeballs out and then passing out, actually. The next thing you know, I was waking up on a tennis court and I thought it was like, I don't remember most of my childhood till then. Except I've now started to remember the first 12 years of my life. And well, as you can clearly tell, my accent come and goes now. So no, it's not a fake accent. It comes and goes. It depends if I'm relaxed or if I'm stressed or it's a bunch of different factors. Fun fact, if you move after you're 12 or 13, you will like keep your speech patterns for the most part. After 18, you will never get rid of it. 16 to 18, you'll never get rid of it. And if you move before you're 12 years old, you most likely won't have it. If you have any, it will be a tiny bit. So you can only imagine how I felt when all of a sudden, 2 months ago now, all of a sudden, like a light switch, my southern accent came back. I always kind of wondered why my lip did this up in the right hand. That's because I was a smoking teenager down in the States, especially as a First Nations teenager, partially. Mentals. Oof. So here's the biggest one. If you are in any position of authority in these countries, North America, we have something called a duty to report. Now, duty to report is a very important thing because you get fired and it's a big deal to not report, actually. People who have authority positions or positions of authority or trust is another word for that word, is another term that they use for those job titles. Because you're in the public eye, and with that job, when you take that job and when you start that job, it is within your certifying boards, it is within your contracts and your paperwork when you're working with the government in those positions, which include teachers. Teachers are one, psychologists, psychiatrists, doctors, many mental health professionals who are not full psychologists also have duty to report built into it because it's that important. Officers of the court, if you are a lawyer, automatically you are bound by duty to report. Justices, peace officers, special constables with any private company. Because you wear a uniform, which means you are basically handed that level of trust to begin with. When, well, in the world, it's respect and trust is earned, not just given or assumed. Except with those job titles, right? And why they like make money, like why they make good money, why they are respected, why their word is given so much weight in court is because they're bound by that. They are bound by a higher law than you as a normal citizen. In any of those professions where you're working with either sensitive information like you have to report that. Now a priest on the other hand is not bound by duty to report in confession. They are actually not bound by law. In fact, they're kind of bound the other way, which is very interesting, isn't it? Meaning, if you tell a priest in confession box at Catholic Church on the weekend, I'm going to murder somebody, they don't actually have to inform the government. They actually kind of have to keep it to themselves. Most times they probably will, but duty to report includes threat to oneself, threat to human life, murder, crime being committed, and that means like any crime. If it's crime like drug dealing, if it's trafficking, child endangerment, or threat to child's life, fraud, also duty to report. What are some of the other ones? Interoperational for police is actually part of duty to report within North America. If something is going on, if there is if there is like a leak or something within any policing force within America, they are also bound by duty to report the fraud of the system. Forged officers, even if you don't agree with the law, right? Here's another difference between Canada and the States. This is good for my brothers in the States to know. In Canada, the provinces have like little to no say over much of the laws. Federally, the Canadian government, the Ottawa, like federally, they have the most power. It's not like in the States where the state individually has more control over their laws within their state. That's like one of the major differences. So if you're operating up here, unless you've taken Ottawa hostage and you've kind of like, then you're screwed. You have to run by the federal law, which doesn't allow for any firearms, even for police officers, except for RCMP protective services with the Prime Minister's office. Those are the only officers who are allowed to, and some diplomatic protection teams, and they have to apply for a special permit. Those are the only individuals. So Secret Service would be allowed, but it would only be like 2 or 3 of them who are allowed, or they have to work with the diplomatic protective teams, such as GMPs up here. Not even Brinks. No. Nobody is to have firearms except for. Can you maybe understand why now? Look at all the gun violence. Is what you're doing making it now worse or better? This is where policing needs to change. This is where the standards that have been in the medical community and even the personal trainer community, personal trainers, they have a lot higher standards than police officers, if I'm being honest, for like career development. Personal trainers have, I would say, just as much, because many doctors actually quit being doctors and become personal trainers. Actually, a significant amount, actually. So don't judge your trainers because you'll never know, but quite a few of them are actually doctors. Well, because unlike their friends, they couldn't just change their field of work, right? Like all of their friends who went to business school or got an art degree and is now making more money than them and is in a different field because everyone hates what they studied in university. Actually, by the end of the time that they're there, uh, typically they kind of hate it and they all change anyway. So, like, English degree running then a business with no business administration, or a theater degree and then now like running your own company. Like, this is all the crap that happens. None of their friends are in the same field that they went to university school for. Meanwhile, here's doctors and dentists. I had to become a doctor, and every single one of my friends is making more money than me, has a better life than me, and I can't switch because I have to pay this off and pay the wife off? Son of a. Are you kidding me? No. Why else do you think they have the highest rate of drug use and suicide? Because they're only the ones not allowed to live happy. What we need in policing, and this is going to be, I think, one of the biggest changes because it's going to start with my team. Oh, if you didn't realize it, go take a look at the Secret Service website. There's something new on there. The anti-human trafficking program with resource officers within schools in America is now posted on the Secret Service website, along with a violence reduction program. Now, if you ask me, the violence reduction program is doing jack shit right now. I don't know about you, but it looks a lot worse. They all have site access and they're switching each other out during sex, and they're sexually trafficking one another as abuse, specifically like the girls. Oh my god, we're gonna ruin that hoe's life. Caltine bars, essentially. Caltine bar on steroids with military equipment. That's what kids are doing now. Be home before the lights are on. Okay, get locked out. Bang, bang, bang. You son of a. Did you call me up? It's a long way we've come. Not only are, well, some of them are 3 times smarter than you, and you were sneaking out of the house and having kids at 16 that your kid doesn't know about, that they have an older brother or sister, right? Oops. Sorry. Yep. Track them down, kids. You have them. You've got brothers and sisters you don't know about, and mom and dad are having their own affairs. They're just not telling. Oh, wait, you already know, right? Another reason why you're leaving the church and why you're so pissed. Oh, we taught kids how to code in school now. It was an option, computer coding. And then not only that, we gave them AI, which then spits out the code if you know how to ask it right. And then they hacked all of mom and dad's emails. And then they read them all. I need to go make some phone calls. Oh, really? It's about time. Oh, you think you have the parental controls over your kid's iPhone? You're funny. You are so hilarious. How many women right now, when I tell them this, watch this. Hey, moms, your daughters have read every single message to your friends that you have sent them. And the nasty things that you have spoken about your own daughter and how she's too fat for this and she's never going to get a husband. Your daughter has read every single one of those messages, not only to like your friends at church, but grandma and grandpa and the ladies at the church Bible study, which is the worst messages actually, which was very shocking to them. Well, not really, considering that, the next door neighbor. Yeah, yeah. I think you're going to want to go make some apologies to your kids, women. Maybe this will make sense of why so many of them started going to the gay community to have them be their parents. Because, well, I'm saved. By faith, we are saved. Oh, wait, sorry. No. By in holy nursery carpet, we trust. Because by the nursery color carpet color, we are saved. Praise Jesus, we are saved by the nursery carpet color. Said no one ever. Rewriting scripture there, church? So, get your shit together because I'm done having my shit together when I'm done smelling all of you not having your shit together. But then I'm going to take a nice one and then I'm going to say, have fun smelling my poops, bitches, as I walk out the door. Have a nice day.